and found the city to be in compliance in all of them. Overall, the city is in very good financial shape for the size of it. As the rating agencies look at your surpluses and things like that, they like to see certain percentages, and you're well within the percentages they'd like to see you at. As I said before, we're not here to do an operational or determine which things are efficient, but if we do see things, we will mention them to the administration. We did have a previous meeting with the administration to go over little things. For instance, one of the things we had, we looked hard into the beach badges here. As we're doing our audits, we do it on a risk-based approach, and obviously there's cash involved there, so we looked heavily into that area. And I'm happy to report you have some very good controls in place for the beach badges. As a matter of fact, I've actually taken some of the controls you have here and shared them with some other towns to help them. But we did find one small area that we thought maybe could have been even a little bit better. We suggested it to Mike and George, and they've already implemented it here. So they were all very receptive to our suggestions. I'd be glad to take any questions. If anybody had any questions about the audit report or the audit process or anything like that.
Mr. Swisher, when you say, like, in other words, we're in good financial shape,
Yes.
What does that mean? Can you give us some examples?
Well, it's a couple things. Number one, your record keeping is in very good shape. Okay. We do over 60 municipalities and counties, and it ranges from very good, which you are, to very poor. In a lot of places we go in, the records are in such, I don't want to say bad shape, but we almost have to recreate the records and then audit them. Here, we were able to come in and audit the records. They were prepared in the form that they were supposed to be. As far as financially positioned, like I said, everybody looks at the surpluses of your town, okay? And the rating agencies want to see you somewhere between 20 and 25% of your expenditures, and you fall within that. Those are the ones that when you're going for a bond rating, okay, there's a whole bunch of factors that create your rating, but one of the most important ones is your surplus. And if you can fall within that 20 to 25%, that's a big bonus. When you do sell bonds, you tend to get a better interest rate. So you do fall within that, and not many towns are able to do that. So it's very commendable to you, because I think that it shows that while the finance team may have a plan in place, it also shows the governing body is following along with that plan. A lot of times you'll see teams will want to do certain things, but the governing body will say, we can't do that. I'm running for election this year, I can't do that. And it's obvious you guys have not done that. You've made the right decisions on your budget, which helps generate the surplus that you have.
Let me ask you a question now.
Sure.
Do we need to comply with the U.S. General Acceptance Accounting principles or the regulatory? Or do we do
We're regulatory.
Just
So yes,
regulatory.
all municipalities in New Jersey are on the regulatory basis. New Jersey is one of, I think, 2 in the whole country that has a different basis of accounting. It's much more conservative than GAAP, which they mentioned there. So you set up reserves, and so this came about back in the early 30s because towns were starting to go under, so they put this base of accounting in, and it's much more protective of the municipalities. It doesn't allow some of those things that you hear that happen out in California and stuff like that where towns default. It's highly unlikely that would ever happen in New Jersey because of this regulatory basis of accounting.
Thanks.
Sure.
Question, you said you don't really audit procedures?
We audit procedures, okay, but we're not determining whether or not you're efficient or not with those procedures, okay? So when we go in, we're testing whether you have controls, okay? Are people signing off on things and stuff like that? Those procedures, we are auditing them. If something was not being done correctly, that could be a comment in your report. We found that your procedures that you are doing are in fact in good shape. You have good controls in place.
And do you have any recommendations on how we can change some others, or?
The only thing I can recall off the top of my head, we did have some suggestions that we made at the exit conference, and we had one suggestion as it was I don't remember what it was with the beach badges, Mike. We saw that there was one additional step. It was tying in the records that were kept.
The balance of the badges.
The balance of the badge. Okay, good. We have a lot of badges here, and they were issued at a bunch of different places, and we thought there may be a better way to tie it in before it got to finance. Because you might find a discrepancy of 1 or 2 here or there, and if it was tied in before it got to finance, you might find it a little bit sooner. Again, very small amounts. But again, we've audited many other places that have 1/10 of the beach badges that you have here, and their controls are nowhere near as good as what you have here.
I know on the board we had some procedures where money had to be deposited by a certain amount of
Correct.
time. Is that something?
That's so, in a Board of Education, it's called a reasonable amount of time, that's really up to the board to determine what that is.
Right.
With a municipality, it's within 48 hours.
It's
So from the time you get it, it must be deposited within 48 hours. And we tested, every department that you had here, and they all complied with it.
Okay, great,
Yep, so you have a very good team here.
thank you.
How many people participate in the audit from your firm?
I believe we had 5 people besides me part of the audit.
And
We
they
allow-
go, I mean, I'm just curious, and they go around to all of the various departments?
We
with
do.
this?
The first year we go around to, again, in the accounting world, we don't test every voucher, we sample, things like that. And, as far as the departments, since we're new, we're gonna go around to every department in the first year. Okay, so we probably spent a little bit more time this year because we're new. We had to go through and determine, okay, what are the internal controls that you have in place? So we handed out a lot of, surveys and written documentation as to how the procedures are, and then we tested them. Again, in future years, we already know what they are now, so it's just a matter of testing them to make sure they're still working.
So, Mike, this was, a report like this, an outcome like this was, is our record of previous years. I mean, it's wonderful. No recommendations. Did we have any recommendations from the previous year that we had to get in place for this year?
No.
All right, nice. And no red flags for next year?
No, I mean, I said, you have a very good team, obviously Mike's the head of the finance team, but the whole office really, was very helpful during the audit, and, if Mike wasn't here, we were able to get a question answered, right away anyhow.
Yeah.
Which is, is as an auditor, it was, sometimes it's a pleasure, if the main person is not there sometimes, you have to wait 2 or 3 days to get an answer to a question. And we did not have, whenever we had a question, it got answered that day.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Uh-huh. And to be, applauded.
Thank you.
Nice job, nice job.
John, is this the meeting? Is this
Yeah,
the
you're
meeting
fine.
that I just
Yes, I mean,
Item number 2, parking commercial vehicles, and request that we,
Oh.
you have some suggestions, because we weren't, I don't know if we're really ready, to.
Yeah, I don't know what we're talking about.
So I'm gonna ask you to pull it.
Oh,
I'm asking
gonna
you
hold
to
it?
pull it, yes.
Let's see.
Quick.
Congratulations.
Thanks. We're gonna discuss it, but.
Record time. Record time, Jacob.
Lou and George and
We can't discuss anything
Was
like
that- I'm
that?
sorry.
The vehicles parked on the streets?
Oh, that's not my decision. The council
Yeah,
president put it
that's-
on the agenda.
if we wanna discuss it, but we don't have
Have any updates?
we don't have
Correct.
any updates.
Right.
And
Oh.
I did ask to have it put on because we discussed it a couple months ago and then it just fell.
Yeah.
So we wanna put on the front burner so we can deal with the commercial vehicle issues that we have in the city, so.
Okay.
If we hold it for the next meeting,
Okay.
we will be prepared. Thank you.
Just to ask one question related to that, then, what is our expectation when it's on for next time, that they would come prepared to do what?
That they would, come prepared with some suggestions in our city ordinance, for our review.
Okay.
And we would certainly ask, George and Lou
To communicate that.
I mean, I don't wanna keep putting it off and putting it off and
Right.
us never getting anywhere with it.
Yeah.
Okay. Review of the, regular meeting agenda. Anyone have any?
No, I was good.
Nothing?
Nope.
Okay. I need a motion to close the workshop.
So- Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Now I need a motion to adopt a resolution to go into executive session for the following items: personnel matter and contract negotiations.
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Viera?
Yes.
Dr. Vogt?
Yes.
Mrs. Wittes?
Yes.
Dr. Sally?
Yes.
Mr. Dangler?
Yes. Personnel matter, board appointments is the first one.
So we just need a moment, so now we're going into an executive session where we'll be calling everyone in individually. So, if you could just step out for a moment and then we'll just.